Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call the August 9th, 2016 Public Works Committee meeting to order. First order of business is roll call and determination of quorum. Brenda, please.
Doyle.
Here.
Estes. Here. Solomon. Here. Drew. Here. Nordstrom. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Brenda. Next order of business is to adopt the agenda. I have a motion by Estes, second by Solomon. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Agenda is adopted. Now is the time for general public comment, which is a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the committee on any issue not limited to items on the agenda. Action, however, will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda except by placement thereon by unanimous vote of the alderman present. I have no general public comment forms, so we will go ahead and move on to consent items 1 through 11. Once again, I'm going to open and close public comment due to not having any comment forms in front of me, and we'll move on to the consent items. Darla Drew.
I'd like to remove item 7, please.
Thank you. Any others? And entertain a motion to adopt the balance with the exception of item 7.
Make a motion.
Motion by Solomon, second by Estes to adopt the consent calendar items 1 through 11 with the exception of 7. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 7 is the South Truck Route Design Basin, or Drainage Basin Design Plan. Estimated cost of $440,000, and I'll yield the floor to Alderwoman Drew.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Drew, second by Nordstrom.
Could I retain the floor and
Absolutely.
ask Dale Tech a few questions? Yes, on this particular project, I know you're just going with an estimated cost here, but can you explain to me why we need this this drainage basin?
This is a detention pond. It provides regional stormwater detention. In addition, we'll have some stormwater quality features built into the pond as well. It's part of the South Truck Route Drainage Basin. We look to try to do regional drainage improvements wherever we can. This facility was also part of the settlement agreement with the P6 property owner as far as building this regional improvement. So it's certainly a needed facility for the community as we grow. So it's a very important component to our drainage system.
Is there standing water there now? Is that part of it?
The underlying property owner graded the area in anticipation of a future drainage pond. So there's not standing water there now, nor will there be standing water in the future. But when we have storm events come through, it'll detain that water and then slowly meter it out.
Well, I'd just like to get an explanation, because when we're spending $500,000, I certainly got enough flack about the soccer fields, but I would just like to have explanation when it comes to things like drainage, because I don't understand the reason for this, but if it's part of the agreement, is that what you're telling me?
It's part of the agreement. It's also part of a drainage basin plan that the city has. We have 21 drainage basin design plans for different drainage areas in the city of Rapid City, and this is an identified facility in that plan. So it's an important regional facility for the city for now and for the future. Okay,
and you really anticipate that it'll be that kind of a cost to make a drainage pond with some, I don't know, other kind of, what do you got planned? Like, does it go underground? Where does water go? What are you talking about here?
It's all surface water, but we have to build embankments. We have to build drainage structures. Part of the analysis and the design of this project is we analyze what kind of flows go into the area, and then we have to meter them out at a certain rate for downstream to protect downstream properties.
Okay.
So there's a lot of engineering that goes in. There's a weir that has to be installed to properly meter the water, and it has to be a certain size, certain shape. So there are, it may look just like a pond, but there are very, very important technical features in that pond, and that's why the cost is what it is.
Okay, well, that answers my question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Alderwoman Drew. Motion on the floor is to approve. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries for item number 7. We are now on to non-consent items 12 through 15. Public comment is now open. I do have a speaker request from Robert Mudge on item number 15. Sir, if you would approach the podium State your case, you have 3 minutes, and then when we get to your item, hopefully your comments will be fresh enough in our heads.
Okay, thank you. I'm Robert Mudge, and I'm with RDS LLP, and we're in the process of building a new building up on Turbine Drive, in addition to one we have already occupied that's on Concourse Drive. And my request is for a variance regarding the sidewalks. I've submitted a letter to staff that variance has been denied, and my reason for the request was just to identify an issue that there are 20-plus businesses on Concourse Drive, Turbine Drive, and Homestead in that area, and 3 have sidewalks. There have been multiple, probably half of those buildings have either been brand new built or modifications made in the last several years, of which we were one of those that made modifications about 5-6 years ago, and we were required to put sidewalks in at that time. So my question is, and the point I want to bring up, is in the sidewalk request for variance, is that there are no sidewalks out there in particular. There's only 3 out of 20. And we are going to develop this land in 3 phases. We'd like to have that variance applied so that we don't build sidewalks that have to be taken down when we do the second and third expansion phases on that, as well as I think we should look at the rules and regulations as to how is that being applied fairly when some people are required to do sidewalks and it appears that some are not. Now, I don't want to point fingers, but from my perspective, that's the way it looks. So I just want to bring that to the council's attention.
Thank you, Mr. Mudge. Seems like I might have another comment form forthcoming. No? I believe I saw somebody grab one. Would you check? I think it was Mr. Peterson. I want to make sure we don't leave anybody out. Thanks for your patience. Thanks, everybody. We do have a comment form from Casey Peterson on items 12, 13, and 14. I will state, sir, we were just notified of the applicant's request to withdraw. If you would still like to speak, you are more than welcome to.
I would, thank you. I just want to let you know that this group here is neighborhood people to come and protest. We don't have that chance because it's withdrawn, but I guess I wanted it of record to let you know that there are people in the neighborhood that are very interested in seeing the project be done correctly. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Okay, public comment is now closed. We will move on to items number 12, 13, and 14. May we, Joel, make the motion in one motion, or do we need to take them separately? Thank you, sir. Mr. Solomon.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to acknowledge the withdrawal of the applicant for items 12, 13, and 14.
Thank you. Motion by Solomon, second by Nordstrom. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Items 12, 13, and 14 have been withdrawn. Moving on to item number 15, which is a request from RDSS LLP for variance to waive the requirement to install sidewalk per city ordinance 12.08.060 along Homestead Street and Turbine Drive. Mr. Estes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion to send to council without recommendation. If I get a second, I'll explain my thinking. Thank you. I couldn't agree with Mr. Mudge more on these sidewalks. I just drove around out there, and you know, I've been sitting up here threatening I'm going to be a proponent of sidewalks, and then it's I mean, this guy's a rock star. He's creating jobs all by himself. He's creating jobs that we just crave. We're looking for with RPM. But as I look around out there, and when that industrial park was started, sidewalks for light industrial were not required. And like he says, there's 20-some businesses out there, and they're kind of getting higher tech in nature, and we're doing an entire downtown plan based upon that kind of thought process and people, and so the reason I want to send it to council without recommendations is to give us all a little bit of time to think, but what I want to do is I want to grant him his waiver at the end. I want to grant him his waiver not to put him in, but in turn, instruct staff to order in sidewalks for the entire area. I think it's a great opportunity for us to see if we have the intestinal fortitude to do such a project. I think topography-wise, it's probably one of the easiest places we can try a sidewalk project. A lot of employees, not a lot of restaurants real close by, so I have no facts here, but I'm going to guess quite a few of those people might take lunches, they take breaks, they probably enjoy sidewalks. You know, and when you drive around, you know, it does, you know, it's going to cost the city some money, and we're going to have to come up with some money to fund this thing. But it doesn't have the curb cuts with the truncated domes. And this is our industrial park. This is where we invite businesses to come to our community and create jobs. It's long in the tooth, folks. I mean, it's got some age on it. It needs to be brought into this century. So, and that's why I don't have in my mind how the motion should read. I just wanted to share with you what my vision is to how this thing should land. And I don't want to end up in a situation where we just force him to put sidewalks in, and now we have 4 out of 21 having sidewalks. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you, Mr. Estes. So we do have a motion on the floor to send to council without recommendation. Motion was by Estes, second by Solomon. We go to Alderman Nordstrom, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'll agree with the motion and the motion maker on all his comments, and especially to Mr. Mudge for the efforts that you've done for the city and all the accomplishments that you've made for the city, and also I'm learning that you've done for the Air Force Base as well, so thank you for all of that. But I'll save a phone call to you if I can, is that when would you, on your own, when would you be able to install that sidewalk in there?
If you wouldn't mind, Mr. Mudge, approaching the podium, you're welcome to entertain the question or not at your discretion.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Nordstrom, but which sidewalk? When would we install the sidewalk?
Correct. As I understand your explanation, you would be doing this in phases, and I agree with you not to do heavy traffic over top of sidewalks.
I got you now. I got you. Basically, what our plan is, and the way we've laid this out, is that when we bought our first land, in that we've become landlocked in our growth due to a number of reasons. So the land we bought now, we bought probably about 2.5 to 3 times the amount of land we actually need. Thinking ahead as the laser deposition technology is growing exponentially. So the idea is we're going to build about a 48,000 square foot facility up on about the middle of that land, and then we would have the ability to put another facility that's on the south end and one on the north end. So the idea is there's like 1,200 or 1,300 lineal feet of sidewalk, and so you know, if we're going to do the sidewalk things, it would make appropriate sense to say, let's do the sidewalks, but let's do it on the part that we're going to develop now, and then we'll put sidewalks on the parts that we're going to develop when we develop them, rather than put sidewalks on the entire thing, and then have to tear them out for street accesses and things like that during the construction of that phase. So the sidewalks that, if we put sidewalks in, will be done with the construction, which probably we're hoping to get started here in the next 30 days. So it'll probably be next spring, next summer sometime when our construction is complete.
Thank you, Mr. Mudge. I can live with that. And I just don't want to get into the area of we're going to mandate a sidewalk at a certain time without those considerations. So I'm in favor of sidewalks. However, what you've explained to us is that we need the access, the egress, the points of entry, and so on. So it doesn't make any sense to build a sidewalk, tear it out, and I agree with you. So.
Yeah, and just
I
to
just
be
need
clear,
to know approximately when they're going to go in.
Yeah, and just to be clear, we do not have a specified time frame for the second and third phase of expansion. You know, whether that's going to be in 2 years or 5 years or whatever. I can tell you that we've done some sort of construction since we moved out of there in 2002. We've done some sort of major construction about every 3 to 5 years.
Thank you. That helps. I yield.
Okay, we're
Could you
going to
stay there?
Alderwoman Drew. I think, Mr. Mudge, we may have another question for you incoming. Thank you, sir. Alderwoman Drew.
I don't know if you can answer this or not, but can you give me a ballpark of how many people are working in that industrial park at this time? Do you have any?
In the entire park?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't. I know, I believe that some of those, you know, when you, the call center guys, it's not tens, it's hundreds.
So 300, 500?
Yeah, I think you're in that, you're getting somewhere. Well, we have 60, and our neighbors across the street have roughly the same, and that's two of the, I'll call it smaller parking lots. But I really don't know what Synchrony and ASI and those guys have, but I believe it's in the hundreds. But Respect is out there. O'Connor Company's probably got 20, 30. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to get into the few hundreds. Whether it's 1,000, I guess it might be a possibility, but I don't know that for sure.
And
That's
when you're
speculation.
looking at future hires, you're kind of, even probably right now, you're looking at a youth market, and you know, they're very interested in sidewalks and those kinds of things. So I'm glad that you're thinking ahead, you know, and I echo Mr. Nordstrom's comments there that, you know, no sense in tearing them out again. But I also echo Alderman Estes' comments about that we might need some kind of planning for our industrial parks because we're really letting this go. And this is a growth area. We're hopefully going to see more people coming into the kinds of jobs that you're creating. And I think they're going to want to either bicycle or walk during their breaks. So thank you for being here today, and thank you for what you've done for the city and your vision. But you're going to be looking at sidewalks, and you know that. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we do have a motion and second on the floor to send this item number 15 to council without recommendation. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I have a motion to adjourn by Estes, second by Solomon. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.